What is going on, beautiful people? It is the Obscurist Tourist here, and today I come to you from South Humber Park here in Etobicoke, Ontario. Though technically it's in Etobicoke, I would like to consider it being part of Toronto, West Toronto. It's just on the other side of the Humber River. Anyway, today I brought you here to show you an absolute architectural gem. A forgotten gem. This thing right back here, this is the Oculus Pavilion, built back in 1959, the golden age of atomic architecture. Anyway, it has been forgotten here, sitting here, neglected, decaying over the past, I don't know, 3 decades or so. Who knows? I hope you can learn to appreciate it as much as I do. So here it is. I'll just give you a brief overview of it. It is the Oculus Pavilion. The Oculus Pavilion was designed by architect Alan Crossley and built in 1959. And if you can believe it, I actually managed to procure some of the original blueprints used by Crossley and consulting engineer Lawrence Cassidy for its construction. The Oculus, resembling a, you guessed it, flying saucer, was created at the beginning of the space age when the world became completely enamored with space exploration. It is an age in architecture and design that has since become known simply as atomic. If you look up here, there's a hole right in the middle of the circular covering that creates a ring of sunlight that flows through the structure, originally positioned to highlight a sculpture of a bird that has sadly since gone missing during its years of neglect. Now, I have looked long and hard, scouring the internet for photographs of this beautiful pavilion in hopes of finding some old shots as it originally stood in the 1960s and 1970s, and fortunately I managed to track down a single shot from sometime in the mid-60s that included a photo of the very bird sculpture that once sat underneath the ring as part of Crossley's original design. I have to admit, it really boggles my mind that not only history, but the internet as a whole has mostly forgotten the existence of this place. And this is exactly why I do these videos, to shine a light on the love that was put into both the design and construction of these wonderful places. I absolutely refuse to let people forget the history that surrounds us all. It is beyond impressive that this kind of time and effort was ever put into designing and building such a magnificent structure for a nondescript place. And even though I don't know the entire history of South Humber Park, I can't imagine that there were ever big plans for it, which makes this structure all the more inspiring. Of course, my impression is dampened by sadness when I see what ultimately has become of this pavilion over the decades. I'm sure that Alan Crossley himself would be rolling over in his grave if he'd known that the city and its people would have turned their backs on this place and allowed it to become so run down. Certainly, he would have turned down the commission had he been able to see into the future. But there is some hope on the horizon for this historic and long dilapidated treasure located along the Humber River Trail right here on the eastern edge of Etobicoke. It has been chosen to be the subject of a revitalization project taken on by the Architectural Conservancy Ontario. The revitalization was to take place in 2020, but the pandemic has managed to push that back to sometime in 2021. So, we will all just have to wait a little bit longer before we see this pavilion restored to its former glory. Good things, as they say, come to those who wait, and frankly, I'm waiting with bated breath. Some Slayer fans. Slayer fans love good architecture, especially atomic architecture. And this stonework, I'm not really sure what kind of stones were used for the building of this pavilion, but I'll have to look into that. Pretty neat though.